Hey everyone, coming to you with a quick voice memo today because I did not have any capacity to be recording a video. So I published a Facebook post a couple of days ago where I talked about switching automation tools, and I also sent an email to the newsletter about this. Now, I've received a really interesting question from Connie in response to my post, and Connie asked, I'm missing the point here. Why would you even use something like Zapier or Make or any of those kind of tools instead of just writing your content directly on a platform? And she was asking for a visual workflow video, which I thought about recording. I'm actually working right now on a freebie where I'm giving out automation recipes for bloggers, specifically for a summit I'm going to be speaking at in January. And all of that is going to be included in the automation recipes. So if anyone wants it, you can just grab it once it's out, and then you will see the visual representation of how I build those workflows. And they're not just for blogging, they're for all sorts of other things. But I wanted to answer Connie's question as to why the heck wouldn't you just write your stuff in the platform directly? And I have a couple of reasons for that are technical, and a couple of reasons that have nothing to do with the tech, but more with your business as a whole. So I wanted to quickly go into those so that I can, just share my thoughts and help answer Connie's question. So reason number one, why I don't publish anything directly on a platform is because tech. So every single platform that you're working on, WordPress, your email service provider, whatever you're on, it just takes a tiny glitch in the matrix and everything that you've just written is gone. Like, I spend a lot of time on client websites, in their email service providers, scheduling their automations and things like that. And the amount of times that you press save and, I don't know, ActiveCampaign just decides in that minute to return a 503 error on you. Or WordPress was actually in the background doing an update and whatever you were working on just now is completely vanished. That is a waste of your time that you've just invested, because everything that you've just written is basically wiped and there's no way to recover it. So that is the short-term reason why I don't write any content on any platform that will remove my content if the internet cuts out, if anything is happening on the server at that time. Reason number two is a long-term tech issue. It happens a lot to clients that something happens to their website, for example. Let's say it gets hacked. The website ends up having to be wiped for one reason or another. And they're like, well, it doesn't matter, my website has backups, right? But then their storage space for backup filled up, 2 years ago. They got an email about it, didn't understand what it meant. There is no backup, and 2 years, 3 years worth of blog content, page content of the website is vanished, right? So this kind of stuff happens all the time. Or recently, MailerLite upgraded their platform and it required users to actually switch to the new platform. Or if you want to just generally switch email service providers, you have years worth of newsletters, automations, subject lines, like you have data in there that if you don't have a record of that email that you sent out for Black Friday sales 2 years ago that converted so well, you are leaving money on the table just because you have no way, without now manually saving all of that content out of your email service provider, you have no way of recovering that information or saving it. So it makes you stick with tools for longer than necessary because you don't want to put up with the admin effort of backing up all of your data and things like that. So this is kind of a long-term tech consequence that I'd rather not be dealing with, because if I have all of my blog posts, I can just pay someone, I can wipe the whole website and just pay someone to fix the URLs up again and to copy and paste the content back on it and just set it up again. I don't have to worry about all of that being completely gone from the face of the earth. So that's the second thing that I wanted to mention. The third thing is that I know a lot of business owners that over time have kind of replaced old content and deleted it because it wasn't in line with what they're doing anymore, because our business isn't a set in stone kind of thing. It's something that evolves time and time again as we learn, we grow, we develop, our interests change. So yeah, a lot of that old content that they used to have, they've taken it offline because, hey, I don't need this anymore. Or maybe they shifted directions. And you're kind of missing an entry in the history books of your business. And when you're new to it, or you haven't really been doing it for very long, you don't really place a lot of value onto that. You're just like, whatever, that old stuff is gone. Pff, who cares? It was so embarrassing. It was cringe, Now that I look back at it like 7 years later, I wish I had done what I'm doing now, which is to have a record of everything. Yeah, my stuff might have not been perfect when I started out because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But now I could repurpose so much of that and just improve it and change the way I'm writing about it. And it would be a super, piece of content to have in place. But I decided to just delete it at some point. I did not have any backup of it. And now it's gone forever. And the fourth reason that I have for not doing that is also to do with record keeping. But something that happened on one of my bigger clients recently is that the stuff that she was writing for the business for the last few years always converted really, really, really well with her audience. And the reason for that is that she was her ideal client. She was struggling with the exact same things that her clients struggle with. And she was still kind of like working through the resolution of that. And she was earning similar amounts to her ideal clients. She was living a similar lifestyle to her ideal clients. So everything she was writing was just incredibly relatable for people. Then she started earning more and more money. She moved abroad. She started losing touch point after touch point after touch point. She got the perfect outcome that her ideal clients wanted. So this was no longer part of her pain. And the more time passed and the more her business grew, she started writing differently. She started saying, hey, you just have to stop doing that. And she would hire copywriters and a social media person. And slowly, the messaging of the business was not hitting home with the customers anymore because she herself had lost touch with the customers. Plus, the people that worked with her were not her ideal client because, they just didn't have this specific problem she was solving for people. The same things happened to me. When I was first starting out, I worked a lot with people that were completely, in the early stages of business. And those were the ones that I was doing services for. So I was speaking to those people every single day. So after a few months, I was very clear on what the struggles were in the very early days. Now, the majority of my clients are people that are already making a significant income because they need the complexity of work that I can deliver on a one-on-one, done-for-you kind of basis. And the people who are newer, I have a completely different perspective on the level of help and support that you really need and what you should and shouldn't invest in when, you're just wondering how to make your money work really hard for you. And, outsourcing tech to someone, in my opinion, is not the thing to be doing at the early stages unless it's for one-off things you just need to get working, but definitely not on an ongoing retainer for like 20 hours a month. I think that's complete nonsense. But in result of that, I have been speaking to a different type of business owner with different problems and different viewpoints, and they have teams in place. Like, I'm not working directly with the business owner anymore. I'm working with the customer support person. I'm working with the marketing person, or I have been the marketing person alongside doing tech. So now when I had some calls this week talking to people about kind of the struggles they have right now when it comes to tech and how they're wording it. I had to actually go back and ask people because it's been 3-4 years that I've worked directly one-to-one with those people in that stage of their business growth, right? So this is a normal thing that happens to all of us, and it's probably going to happen to you as well. So it could be that the stuff that you wrote initially may not have been really good from a conversion perspective, but you had a lot of gold nuggets in there talking to the problems that your audience is experiencing. And now you are less in touch with those problems, but you no longer have a record of it. right? So those are probably my 4 reasons why I suggest that you don't ever write any content directly on any platform, and that you keep a record of it somewhere else. And then as far as what the automation actually looks like between different platforms, for that, I'm happy to send out the freebie once I've got it finished. I think I have to finish it anyways in the next week or so. I think is the submission deadline. So I'm going to get onto that, and then I can visually show you what that might look like. And I don't believe that you need all the perfect systems and everything automated in the early stages of business. That's complete nonsense. You need momentum and you need to keep going. But if there was one thing that I wish I did, it would have been to keep a record of all the stuff that I did. Like, I don't know. Literally, I regret it so much. And yeah, that's basically my thoughts around that. And I hope that was helpful.